A crumpled letter shattered Christmas in Camden, Maine, revealing a wife's betrayal. Eldrick Hawthorne, 55, a retired fisherman, stood frozen on snowy docks, the scent of lobster and salt heavy in the icy air. His daughter, abandoned in foster care, held a secret that could break their bond forever. Forgiveness, not vengeance, might heal their family's heart. Will truth mend what's torn? Dive into this emotional family story and share your own secrets in the comments below. Snow falls soft on Camden, Maine, blanketing the docks in quiet. Christmas Eve hums with carols drifting from the harbor, where lobster boats bob under strings of twinkling lights. The air bites with salt and pine, and the crunch of Eldrick's boots echoes as he trudges up the icy path to his weathered clapboard house. At 55, his fisherman's hands are calloused, his shoulders stooped from years hauling nets, now idle due to a boat engine that's given up. His breath clouds in the dusk, and the glow of Victorian homes along the street feels distant, like a warmth he can't touch. Inside his coat pocket, an unpaid repair bill crinkles, $2, $300, a weight heavier than the snow. Eldrick pauses at his doorstep, fishing for keys. His eyes catch on a folded paper taped to the door, flapping in the breeze. No envelope, just his name scrawled in black ink, Eldrick Hawthorne. His fingers, numb from cold, tremble as he peels it free. The carols, Silent Night, swell from a nearby church, mocking the unease curling in his gut. He unfolds the notice, and the words hit like a rogue wave. Fain Hawthorne, 16, placed in foster care. Custodial parent, Leora Hawthorne, departed for Hawaii with unrelated minors. His heart stutters. Leora, his wife, gone. Fain, his daughter, in foster care? The paper lists Maris and Calix, her boss's kids, as her travel companions. Not Fain. God, no, Eldrick whispers, his voice cracking. He leans against the door, the notice crumpling in his fist. Shock pulses through him, sharp as the winter wind. Leora's laugh, bright, restless, flashes in his mind, her suitcase by the door last week. Just a work trip, she'd said, kissing his cheek. He'd nodded, distracted by boat repairs, not seeing the lie in her eyes. Fain's face, her dark curls and quiet smile, surfaces next. When did he last hug her? His chest tightens, betrayal searing like salt in a wound. He stumbles inside, the house dark and stale. The notice falls to the floor as he fumbles for the phone. His hands shake, dialing the foster agency's number printed at the bottom. A robotic voice answers, office closed until December 26th. Eldrick slams the phone down, his breath ragged. He pictures Thane in a stranger's home, her fishing hat, the one he gave her at 10, left behind. The carols outside fade, leaving silence that screams louder than his thoughts. Did I miss her cries? Eldrick wonders, sinking into a chair. Leora's, too. His mind churns, replaying years of long nights at sea, leaving Leora to manage bills, Thane to grow up fast. Honesty, he thinks, did he ever ask what weighed on her? The boat's unpaid bill, stuffed in his pocket, feels like a confession of his own failures. He resolves to call again tomorrow, to demand answers, to find Thane. Dialogue, he tells himself, will start this healing. The room feels smaller, the walls closing in. Eldrick's gaze lands on a photo on the mantel, him, Leora, Fain, grinning on the dock, a lobster trap behind them. The memory stings, Thane's giggle as she cracked her first claw. He touches the frame, his fingers lingering. I'll find you, kid, he vows silently. The notice lies crumpled, a symbol of his shattered family, but the carols creep back, faint, stirring a flicker of resolve. Outside, Camden's Christmas lights glow on lobster traps, a Maine tradition that feels both cruel and hopeful. Eldrick stands, clutching the photo. His monologue spills out, I was caught in my nets, Fain. Leora, too, maybe. But I'm here now. I'll fight for you. The words steady him, a fisherman facing a storm. Yet the question gnaws, why did Leora abandon Fain? The Christmas market in Camden, Maine, sparkles under a snowy dusk. Strings of lights drape over wooden stalls, casting a warm glow on cobblestone paths. the air hums with cider scents, clam chowder steam, and the laughter of families bundled in scarves. Snow crunches under boots, and a folk band strums jingle bells near the harbor, where lobster boats rock gently. Eldrick Hawthorne, 55, weaves through the crowd, his fisherman's coat frayed at the cuffs. His face, weathered by salt and sun, hides the ache from last night's discovery. Fain, his daughter, in foster care. Leora, his wife, fled to Hawaii. The foster notice burns in his pocket, a secret heavier than the unpaid boat bill beside it. I force a nod at familiar faces, my breath clouding in the cold. The market's cheer feels like a stranger's house, bright, but not mine. A vendor offers a sample of chowder, and I take it, the warmth fleeting in my hands. My eyes scan the stalls, hoping for Fain, though I know she's miles away in a foster home. Did she ever love these lights? I wonder, picturing her at 10, clutching my hand, her fishing hat tilted. The memory stings, and I swallow hard, my throat tight. Eldrick, calls Mabel, a gray-haired baker from down the street. Her stall overflows with gingerbread lobsters, a Maine quirk. Haven't seen you since the festival. Where's Leora? Her smile is kind, but her eyes pry. She's on a work trip, I mumble, the lie sour. Just me tonight. Mabel nods, but whispers ripple nearby. Two women, sipping cider, glance my way. Heard Leora took off to Hawaii, one says, voice low. With her boss's kids, not her own. Poor Fain. The other clucks, Eldrick must have driven her away. Always at sea, that man. My cheeks burn, shame curling like smoke. Not good enough, a voice hisses in my head. Not for Leora, not for Fain. I turn away, pretending to study a stall of knitted scarves. My hands clench, the chowder cup crumpling. The band's carols mock me, joy to the world, as I fight the urge to shout, you don't know her. You don't know me. But their words cut true. Was I gone too long, chasing fish while my family slipped away? I fumble for my phone, a clunky thing Fain teased me about. Call her, I think, desperate for her voice. The screen glows, but my fingers, stiff from cold, hit the wrong buttons. A photo pops up, Fain and me, grinning on the dock. I mutter, damn thing, as a teenager nearby snickers. Need a tutorial, Pops, he quips. I force a chuckle, but the text stumbles humiliate me further, a fisherman out of his depth on land. Eldrick, try this, says a voice. It's Tom, a retired lobsterman, his apron dusted with flour. He hands me a hot cider, his eyes crinkling. Market's no place for a long face. Fain'll come around. His kindness, unasked, cracks my guard. I sip the cider, its warmth spreading. Community, I think. Strangers see my hurt when family didn't. The gossip fades as I wander to the harbor's edge. Christmas lights reflect on the water, a motif of hope I cling to. I recall Leora's restlessness, her late-night pacing. Did I ignore her? My monologue spills, I saw the nets, not her eyes. Fain's, too. But I'm here now, in this glow, fighting for them. The lights shimmer, and I resolve to focus on myself, not the whispers. I dial Fain again, the phone clumsy in my hands. It rings, unanswered, but I picture her face, her quiet strength. The band shifts to Oh Holy Night, and the crowd hums along, their voices a lifeline. Tom's cider lingers on my tongue, Maine's clams and apples grounding me. Yet the question gnaws, will Fain answer my call? Snow falls thick in Camden, Maine, cloaking the pines that frame a narrow street. The foster home, a sagging Victorian, squats under a gray sky, its windows glowing faintly. Inside, the air hums with kids' chatter and the clatter of dishes, but the cramped rooms feel heavy, stuffed with worn furniture and faded curtains. Eldrick Hawthorne, 55, stands at the door, his fisherman's boots dripping slush onto the porch. His heart thumps with hope, the foster notice from Christmas Eve a crumpled weight in his pocket. He's called the agency twice, each time met with a voicemail. Today, he's here for Fain, his daughter, to bring her home. I knock, my knuckles raw from cold. The pines whisper in the wind, and I picture Thane's face, her dark curls, her quiet eyes. She'll come, I tell myself, clutching the memory of her at 10, learning to cast a line, her laugh brighter than the harbor. The door opens, and a woman, mid-40s, peers out. Her name's Helen, the foster mom, her apron smudged with flour. "Eldrick," Helen says, her voice soft but guarded. "Thane's upstairs. But she doesn't want to see you." My breath catches, heartbreak slicing sharp. "She said that?" I ask, my voice hoarse. "Just let me talk to her." Helen hesitates, glancing back. A boy, maybe 8, darts past, shouting about a game. "Thane's been quiet," she says. "Blames you for Leora leaving. Give her time." I clench my jaw, the sting of Thane's rejection worse than the foster notice. Blames me? I see Leora's suitcase, her quick kiss before Hawaii. Did Thane think I pushed her away? I step closer, my boots creaking. "Helen, she's my daughter. I need to see her." Helen sighs, opening the door wider. "Wait here." She disappears, and I pace the porch, snow dusting my coat. The house smells of burnt toast and pine cleaner, a far cry from our dockside home. I flash back to Fain at 12, her fishing hat tilted, grinning as we hauled traps. "You're my captain," she'd said. The memory fades, and I wonder when her smile stopped. Helen returns, her face tight. "Thane won't come down. Says you let Leora go." Her words land like a gut punch. I grip the porch rail, my knuckles white. "She's wrong," I say, but doubt creeps in. Did I? The caregiving stress hits, navigating this system feels like sailing blind. I called a social worker yesterday, got a rushed, file form 12B. I don't even know what that means. "Let me write her," I say, grasping at dialogue to bridge the gap. Helen nods, handing me a notepad. I scribble, "Fain, I'm here. Always will be. Let's talk." I pass it back, my hand shaking. Helen pauses, then adds, "She's clutching something, a letter, maybe. Won't show us." "A letter?" My pulse quickens. What's Thane hiding? I want to demand answers, but Helen's husband, Carl, appears, his voice firm. "Eldrick, don't push her. Come back tomorrow." His tone brokers no argument, and I nod, defeated. I trudge to my truck, the snow muffling Camden's quiet. The financial strain gnaws. I sold my spare nets yesterday to cover a bill, the cash barely enough. My phone buzzes, a creditor's text, payment due. I ignore it, my mind on Fain. Resilience, I think, like waves carving the shore. I'll keep coming, keep writing, until she opens that door. My monologue spills, "Fain, I failed you once, lost in my nets. But I'm your captain still, steering us home." The pines stand sentinel, Maine's snowy heart grounding me. I picture our dock, Thane's hat, our lobster dinners under Christmas lights. Carl's words echo, "Give her time." I cling to that, a flicker of relief in the storm. But the letter lingers, a secret I can't unsee. Camden's harbor glitters under a late morning sun, the snow-dusted docks alive with the clink of lobster traps and the tang of salt air. Gulls will above, their cries sharp against the hum of Christmas carols from a distant radio. The lobster shack, a weathered hut with peeling red paint, buzzes with locals nursing coffee and chowder. Eldrick Hawthorne, 55, pushes through the door, his fisherman's coat heavy with last night's defeat. Thane's rejection at the foster home stings, her hidden letter a nagging mystery. His boots scuff the gritty floor, and the weight of unpaid bills, boat repairs, now overdue, presses harder than the foster notice in his pocket. I slide onto a stool, the counter sticky with spilled coffee. The shack smells of fried clams and diesel, a fisherman's haven. My hands, calloused from years at sea, cradle a mug, but my mind's on Fain, her dark curls, her refusal to see me. What's in that letter? I wonder, sipping the bitter brew. The radio plays White Christmas, its cheer a cruel jab. I called the social worker again this morning, Got a Kurt, submit Form 12B in person. Caregiving stress chokes me, forms, rules, a system that keeps my daughter caged. Eldrick, you look like hell, says Rosie, the shack's cook, her apron stained with grease. Her eyes, sharp behind glasses, miss nothing. Heard about Fain? Foster care, huh? I nod, my throat tight. Trying to get her back, I say, voice low. The locals at the counter, old fishermen, market vendors, lean closer, their chatter fading. Rosie wipes her hands, leaning in. Heard something else, she says, voice dropping. Leora didn't just leave. Took her boss's kids, Maris and Calix, to Hawaii. Left Fain behind. The words hit like a snapped line, fury roaring through me. My mug clatters, coffee splashing. What? I growl, my voice shaking. Leora's face flashes, her restless smile, her suitcase last week. Work trip, she'd lied. She chose strangers' kids over our daughter? The shack spins, the carols mocking my rage. That's not right, I say, but Rosie's nod confirms it, her eyes pitying. Boss's orders, maybe, pipes up Jake, a grizzled lobsterman at the counter. Leora's been cozy with that suit. Seen him at the marina. His words fuel the fire, and I slam my fist on the counter, drawing stares. She abandoned Fain. I shout, my voice cracking. The locals murmur, some nodding, others averting eyes. My fury boils, but a memory surfaces, Leora, years ago, stressed over bills, her hands trembling as she balanced the checkbook. I'd been at sea, blind to her strain. Was she desperate? Eldrick, calm down, Rosie says, her voice firm. Yelling won't fix it. But I'm past calm, my chair scraping as I stand. I'm finding answers, I snap, storming toward the door. The shack's chatter erupts behind me, a public clash I can't undo. Outside, the harbor air bites, and I pause, my breath ragged. The caregiving stress looms, I need those forms, need Fain home. But first, Leora. I'll call her, I vow, dialogue my anchor. My phone buzzes, a creditor's text, final notice. Financial strain tightens its grip, but I ignore it, my mind on justice. Truth will heal us, I think, not this anger. I flash back to Leora packing, her eyes darting, voice clipped. Just a few days, she'd said. I'd nodded, distracted by the boat. The memory stings, and I wonder if I pushed her to this. I lean against the shack, the wood rough under my hands. Maine's pines loom across the harbor, snowy and steadfast. My monologue spills, Leora, you broke us, but I'll find the truth, for Fain, for me. The carols fade, but a gull's cry grounds me, a call to action. I'll confront Leora, demand why she left Fain behind. But a question burns, how will I find her? Camden's harbor shimmers under a pale afternoon sun, the snow on the docks melting into slush. Lobster boats creak against their moorings, their hulls flecked with ice, while gulls swoop low, their cries mingling with the rhythmic crash of waves. The air carries salt and seaweed, sharp against the faint hum of Christmas carols from a nearby cafe. Eldrick Hawthorne, 55, stands at the harbor's edge, his fisherman's coat damp from the mist. His heart still reels from the lobster shack's revelation, Leora's betrayal, abandoning Fain for her boss's kids in Hawaii. But a call from Helen, the foster mom, brought him here. Fain's agreed to meet, a fragile lifeline after her rejection. I grip the railing, my hands rough from years of nets. The harbor's always been my anchor, its tides steady when life wasn't. Fain loved this place, I think, picturing her at 12, her fishing hat flopping as she tossed bait to gulls. Her refusal yesterday cut deep, her hidden letter a puzzle I can't solve. But Helen's words, she's ready to talk, spark hope, faint as the sun through clouds. My boots scuff the dock, and I scan the path, my breath clouding in the chill. A figure appears, bundled in a too-big coat. It's Fain, 16, her dark curls peeking from a knit cap. Her eyes, guarded, meet mine, and my chest tightens. Fain, I call, my voice soft, afraid to break the moment. She stops a few feet away, hands stuffed in her pockets, her gaze flicking to the boats. "Hey," she says, her voice low, like she's testing the waters. "Helen said you wouldn't stop coming." "Never will," I say, stepping closer. "You're my kid." The words feel raw, and I see her flinch, but a ghost of a smile tugs at her lips. Hope flares in me, warm as a hearth. She's here, I think, my eyes tracing her face, Leora's cheekbones, my stubborn jaw. The waves crash, a steady pulse, and I gesture to a bench. "Sit with me?" She hesitates, then nods, perching on the edge. The bench is cold, the wood slick with mist. I pull her old fishing hat from my pocket, its brim frayed. "Found this in the shed," I say, offering it. Her fingers brush mine as she takes it, her smile flickering brighter. "Still fits," she murmurs, tugging it on, and for a moment, we're us again, captain and crew. "Fain, I didn't know," I start, my voice thick. "About Leora." I'd have stopped her. Her smile fades, and she looks away, her hands tightening on the hat. "You were gone," she says, barely audible. "Always fishing." The accusation stings, but her eyes hold pain, not anger. I want to ask about the letter, but her fragility stops me. My phone buzzes, a text from Helen, forms due tomorrow. Caregiving stress presses, I still don't have Form 12B, the system a maze. I fumble with the phone, trying to reply, but the screen locks. "Damn thing," I mutter, and Fain snorts, a small laugh. "You're hopeless, Dad," she says, grabbing it. Her fingers dance, unlocking it, and she types a quick, "Got it." I grin, the tech humor a bridge between us. "You're hired," I tease, and her smile lingers. The waves keep time, and I try again. "Fain, what happened with your mom?" Her face closes, her hands retreating to her pockets. "She had to go," she says, too fast, her eyes darting. I lean forward, my voice gentle. "You can tell me." But she stands, the hat slipping. "I gotta get back," she says, backing away. "Helen's waiting." "Fain, wait," I call, but she's already moving, her coat a blur against the snow. My hope frays, but her smile, brief, real, clings to me. Family bonds, I think, are worth this fight. I'll keep talking, keep showing up. The harbor's waves whisper resilience, and I flash back to Fain at 10, her hat bobbing as she reeled in her first fish. "We did that together," I'd said. "We can again." My monologue spills, "Fain, your smile's my compass. I'll navigate this storm, for you." Maine's harbor, with its creaking boats and salty air, grounds me. I pocket the phone, vowing dialogue, more talks, more truth. But her quick exit, her guarded words, nag at me. What's she keeping from me? Snow blankets Camden, Maine, piling high against the foster home's sagging Victorian frame. The late afternoon sky is iron gray, casting shadows through cracked windows where foster kids' laughter echoes. The air inside is thick with the scent of pine cleaner and overcooked spaghetti, the cramped rooms buzzing with restless energy. Eldrick Hawthorne, 55, stands in the narrow hallway, his fisherman's boots leaving wet tracks on the linoleum. Fain's fleeting smile at the harbor yesterday lit a spark of hope, but her quick exit and guarded words haunt him. Helen, the foster mom, called this morning. Fain's ready to talk again, but Eldrick's heart braces for another rejection. The foster notice and unpaid boat bills weigh heavy in his coat, reminders of a family fractured. I shift my weight, my hands stuffed in my pockets. The hallway's walls, papered in faded florals, close in, and a kid's crayon drawing, a lopsided boat, catches my eye. Fain's work? I wonder, picturing her at 10, sketching our dock. Her rejection, her hidden letter, gnaw at me. Leora's betrayal, fleeing to Hawaii with her boss's kids, not Fain, still burns, but Fain's words, "She had to go," hint at more. The caregiving stress mounts. I spent an hour at the agency today, fumbling with Form 12B, only to hear, incomplete. Try again. My boat's creditor called, 2, repossession looms if I don't pay soon. Helen appears, her apron dusted with flour. Eldrick, she's in the living room, she says, her voice cautious. Go easy. She's nervous. I nod, my throat tight, and follow her. The living room is a patchwork of mismatched furniture, a Christmas tree tilting in the corner, its lights half-burnt. Fain, 16, sits on a sagging couch, her dark curls tucked under her fishing hat. Her hands clutch a crumpled envelope, her eyes darting to mine. Fain, I say, my voice soft, like I'm coaxing a skittish gull. I sit across from her, the couch creaking. You don't have to hide from me. Her fingers tighten on the envelope, and my pulse quickens. That's the letter, I think, Helen's words echoing. What's that? I ask, nodding at it. She swallows, her gaze dropping. It's from Mom, she whispers. My breath catches, shock rippling through me. Leora? I say, leaning forward. When? Fain's eyes glisten, and she thrusts the envelope at me, her hand shaking. Before she left. I didn't want you to see. I take it, the paper worn thin. My fingers tremble as I pull out a single sheet, Leora's handwriting jagged. Eldrick, Fain, I'm sorry. The debts were drowning us, boat repairs, mortgage. My boss offered a way out, a job in Hawaii. I couldn't take Fain, not yet. I'll come back. Forgive me. The words hit like a snapped mast, my chest heaving. Leora didn't betray us for freedom, she fled to save us from ruin. Shock twists into empathy, her desperation mirroring my own. Why hide this? I ask, my voice breaking. Fain's face crumples. You'd hate her, she says, tears spilling. I thought, if you knew, you'd give up on her. On me. Her words gut me, and I move to her side, the couch groaning. Never, I say, my hand hovering, afraid to touch her. But you should have told me. I was scared, she whispers, clutching her hat. The room feels smaller, the kids' laughter outside a distant hum. I flash back to Leora's late-night pacing, her voice sharp over Bill's. We're sinking, she'd said. I'd brushed it off, focused on the next catch. Was this my fault? Fain, we'll figure this out, I say, my voice firm despite the chaos in my head. Dialogue, I think, truth starts here. But the letter shifts everything. Leora's not a traitor, but why leave Fain behind? My phone buzzes, another creditor, tomorrow, or we take the boat. Financial strain bites, but I shove it aside, my eyes on Fain. Helen steps in, her face tense. Eldrick, time's up. Fain needs rest. I nod, but Fain grabs my sleeve. Come back, she says, her voice small. I squeeze her hand, the letter in my other. Always, I promise, standing. The Christmas tree's lights flicker, a faint glow in the gloom. Outside, Camden's snow muffles the world, pines standing sentinel. Maine's quiet strength steadies me, but the letter's truth shakes my core. My monologue spills, Leora, you ran, but was it for us? Fain had your pain to save me. Can I forgive you both? The caregiving stress lingers, forms, hearings, a system I can't crack. I vow to return, to talk more, but a question burns, what else is Thane hiding? Camden's dock stretches into the twilight, a lonely spine of weathered planks slick with ice. Snow swirls in the biting wind, dusting lobster traps stacked like forgotten relics. The harbor's waves crash against pilings, a relentless dirge, while gulls scream overhead, their cries swallowed by the vast, gray Atlantic. Christmas carols, O come, all ye faithful, drift faintly from a shoreside cafe, their warmth a cruel contrast to the cold gripping Eldrick Hawthorne, 55. He stands at the dock's end, his fisherman's coat flapping, his face raw from wind and tears. Fain's letter, revealing Leora's desperate flight to Hawaii to escape debts, shook him hours ago. Her plea for forgiveness and Fain's fear of his hatred churn in his mind, but the weight of abandonment, by wife, by daughter, crushes him now. I stare into the water, black and churning, my hands gripping the rail. The dock's my refuge, where I taught Fain to fish, where Leora once kissed me under summer stars. Now it's a graveyard of memories. Fain's confession, hiding Leora's letter to protect me, cut deep, but her plea, come back, keeps me tethered. Yet Leora's gone, Fain's walled off in foster care, and I'm alone. Abandoned, the word sears, a wound older than this storm. My father left when I was 10, his boat vanishing into the horizon. Now my family's slipped away, too. My boots scrape the ice, and I sink to my knees, the cold biting through my jeans. Tears fall, hot against my frozen cheeks, and I don't wipe them. No one's here to see. The carols mock me, singing of faith I can't find. I flash back to last Christmas, Fain laughing, cracking lobster claws, Leora humming carols, her eyes distant. I'd been tallying fuel costs, blind to her strain. Why didn't I see? The caregiving stress suffocates. I spent the day at the agency, Form 12B rejected again, the clerk's voice cold, missing proof of income. Fain's trapped in that system, and I'm failing her. My phone buzzes, a creditor's call, boat repossession tomorrow. Financial strain claws at me, but I let it ring, my eyes on the waves. Leora, I whisper, my voice lost in the wind. You left Fain. Me. Was I not enough? The question breaks me, and a sob escapes, raw and ragged. I picture Fain's fishing hat, her smile at the harbor, and my heart screams, she's gone, too, her trust fractured. Everyone leaves, I think, the abandonment carving hollows in my chest. A crunch of boots startles me. It's Tom, the lobsterman from the market, his face weathered under a knit cap. Eldrick, he says, his voice gruff but kind. Saw you from the cafe. You okay? I shake my head, unable to speak. He sits beside me, silent, his presence a lifeline. The waves keep time, and I flash back again, Fain at 5, asleep on my shoulder, Leora's hand in mine. We were enough once. Fain's letter, I choke out, my voice raw. Leora left to save us from debt. But she left Fain behind. Tom nods, his eyes on the horizon. Folks make hard choices, he says. Don't mean they don't love you. His words stir something, compassion, not for Leora, but for myself. Self-focus, I think. I can't carry their choices. I wipe my face, the cold numbing my fingers. Gotta keep fighting, Tom adds, standing. For Fain. He claps my shoulder and walks off, his boots fading in the snow. The carols swell, their melody softer now, a whisper of hope. Maine's harbor, with its stubborn pines and crashing waves, holds me steady. I stand, my legs shaky, and my monologue spills, Fain, Leora, you left me here, but I'll stand for you. For me. The caregiving stress lingers, forms, hearings, a maze I'll face tomorrow. I vow to try again, to understand their pain, not just mine. The dock creaks under my weight, and a gull lands nearby, eyeing me. The carols shift to silent night, their gentleness a balm. I picture Thane's face, her plea to return. I'll go back, I think, compassion guiding me. But a question lingers, sharp as the wind, will Thane trust me with her secrets? Camden's harbor lies quiet under a pre-dawn snow, the lobster boats ghostly silhouettes in the mist. The air is sharp with salt and pine, the only sound the soft lap of waves against the docks. Eldrick Hawthorne, 55, sits in his darkened kitchen, the clapboard house creaking around him. A single bulb flickers above, casting shadows on the worn table where bills, boat repairs, mortgage, utilities, spill like flotsam. Last night's breakdown on the dock left him raw, the sting of abandonment by Leora and Thane still fresh. Thane's letter, revealing Leora's flight to Hawaii to escape debts, shifted his anger to empathy, but Tom's words, folks make hard choices, stir a deeper truth. Eldrick's hands, callous from years at sea, clutch a photo, him, Leora, Thane, smiling on the dock. The memory pulls him back, a tide he can't resist. I stare at the photo, my fingers tracing Thane's grin. The kitchen smells of stale coffee and damp wood, a far cry from the lobster dinners we shared. Thane's plea to return, Leora's desperate letter, churn in my mind. Why didn't I see her pain? I wonder, the caregiving stress heavy, I'm due at the agency today, Form 12B still incomplete, the clerk's voice echoing, bring bank statements. My boat's creditor left a voicemail, payment or we seize tomorrow. Financial strain tightens its grip, but it's the past that holds me now. I close my eyes, and I'm back 3 years ago, this same kitchen, summer's heat sticky. Leora, 49 then, sat at this table, her auburn hair loose, her hands trembling over a stack of bills. The radio played Sweet Caroline, a faint hum from the Harbor Festival. Fain, 13, was at a friend's, leaving us alone. I'd just docked, my net's empty, my mood sour. Eldrick, we're sinking, Leora said, her voice tight. She pushed a bill toward me, $5,000 for the boat's engine. Mortgage is late, too. We can't keep up. Her eyes, usually bright, were dull with worry, her fingers twisting a napkin to shreds. I barely glanced at the bill, my jaw set. I'll catch more tomorrow, I said, grabbing a beer from the fridge. Always do. I was tired, the seas grind in my bones, and her stress felt like another net to untangle. I didn't see her flinch, didn't hear the crack in her voice. It's not enough, she snapped, standing. You're always gone, Eldrick. I'm drowning here. Her words were a flare, but I doused it, my voice cold. Then get a job, I said, turning away. She froze, her breath hitching, and I walked out, the screen door slamming. The harbor's festival lights twinkled, but I didn't look back. The memory fades, and I'm back in the present, my chest tight with guilt. I ignored her, I think, the bills on the table now echoing hers. Leora's letter said debts drove her to Hawaii, a job to save us. I pushed her to that edge, my absence a silent shove. The caregiving stress mirrors hers, I'm fighting for Fain, but the system's a maze, each form a wall. I called the agency yesterday, got a rushed, check your documents. I'm failing, like I failed Leora. My phone buzzes, a creditor, final warning. I ignore it, my eyes on the photo. Leora, I whisper, my voice hoarse. I should have listened. The guilt is a weight, heavier than the snow outside. I flash back again, Leora, a month later, quieter, her smiles forced. She'd started working for her boss, late hours, her voice clipped. I didn't ask why, too focused on the next haul. Honesty, I think now. I owed her that. I stand, the chair scraping, and grab a notepad. Dialogue, I decide, truth starts with me. I scribble a letter to Fain, I'm sorry I missed your mom's pain. I'll listen now. Talk to me. I'll give it to her today, keep fighting for her trust. The kitchen's bulb hums, and I vow to face the agency, to call the creditor, to own my part. Outside, Camden's pines stand tall, snow softening their edges. Maine's dawn, with its quiet harbor and distant carols, grounds me. My monologue spills, Leora, I didn't hear your truth. Fain, I'll hear yours. I'm learning, late, but I'm here. The guilt lingers, but honesty lights a path. I pocket the letter, ready to try again. But a question nags, sharp as the dawn, what drove Leora to leave Fain behind? A figure emerges, her coat flapping, Fain, 16, her dark curls spilling from her knit cap. She clutches a small bag, her eyes wary but softer than before. Fain, I call, my voice warm, like coaxing a gull. She stops a few feet away, her boots scuffing the slush. You came, she says, almost surprised. Always will, I say, stepping closer. Got your letter in my heart. Her lips twitch, a ghost of a smile, and she sits on a bench, waving me over. The wood's cold, the waves a steady pulse. I pull a fishing lure from my pocket, its silver glinting. Found this in the shed, I say, offering it. Yours, from our trips. Her fingers brush mine, and she holds it tight, her eyes glistening. Dad, she starts, her voice trembling, I need to tell you something. My pulse quickens, her tone heavy. About Mom's letter? I ask, leaning in. She shakes her head, her hands tightening on the lure. No. About why she left. I freeze, the waves' rhythm faltering in my ears. You said debts, I say, confused. Fain's face crumples, tears brimming. I told her to go, she whispers, her voice breaking. Shock slams into me, a rogue wave. What? I choke, my voice raw. You? She nods, tears spilling. Mom was breaking, Dad. Bills, fights, you gone. She said Hawaii was a chance to save us, but she couldn't take me, foster care was faster than court. I said, go, I'll be fine. I wanted to protect you. Her words unravel me, her sacrifice a blade. Fain, my kid, shouldered our ruin to spare me? My chest heaves, shock mingling with awe. Why didn't you tell me? I ask, my voice cracking. She clutches the lure, her knuckles white. You'd blame yourself, she says. I thought, if Mom fixed things, we'd be okay. Her eyes meet mine, raw and pleading. I'm sorry. I move closer, the bench creaking, and pull her into a hug, her sobs shaking us both. Fain, I whisper, you carried too much. Never again. Her fishing hat presses against my chest, a symbol of her strength. The harbor's waves roar, and I flash back to Fain at 10, hauling traps with me, her grin fierce. She's always been my captain. Fain, we'll face this together, I say, my voice firm. Dialogue, I think, truth binds us now. The caregiving stress looms, the foster hearings days away, and I need Fain's trust. My phone buzzes, a creditor, boat seized. Financial strain bites, but Fain's hug dulls it. I stroke her hair, my heart swelling. Family bonds, I think, are stronger than debt. Helen's car pulls up, honking. Fain, she calls, her voice sharp. Fain pulls back, wiping her face. I gotta go, she says, but her eyes hold mine. You'll come to the hearing? I nod, squeezing her hand. Wouldn't miss it. She runs off, the lure glinting in her bag, her confession a weight lifted in a new burden. Camden's harbor sparkles, pines framing the horizon. Maine's salt air steadies me, the carols a faint promise. My monologue spills, Fain, you saved me with your heart. Leora, I see your pain now. We'll rebuild, together. The caregiving stress presses, but Fain's sacrifice fuels me. I vow to fight at the hearing, to speak truth. But a question lingers, sharp as the waves, can I forgive Leora for leaving her? Camden's community center hums with late afternoon warmth, its wooden beams strung with Christmas lights that flicker like distant stars. The air smells of pine boughs and fresh coffee, mingling with the faint salt breeze slipping through cracked windows. Locals bustle, setting up for a holiday potluck, their chatter a soft backdrop to the clink of mugs and rustle of paper tablecloths. Eldrick Hawthorne, 55, sits at a corner table, his fisherman's coat slung over a chair, his hands gripping a borrowed laptop. Fain's confession at the harbor, urging Leora to flee to Hawaii to save them from debt, still reverberates, her sacrifice a weight of awe and pain. The foster hearing looms tomorrow, and Eldrick's heart races. He's tracked Leora's number through her boss's office, ready to confront her via video call. The caregiving stress is relentless, Form 12BS approved, but the hearing's outcome is uncertain. His boat's gone, seized yesterday, the financial strain a dull ache. I stare at the laptop screen, my reflection haggard in the glow. The sender's lights twinkle, but my world's dark. Fain's trust, her plea for me to fight, drives me now. But Leora's letter and Fain's secret twist my anger into questions. Why leave Fain behind? I wonder, my fingers hovering over the call button. The locals' laughter, Tom's gruff chuckle, Rosie's sharp quip, grounds me, but this calls a storm I face alone. I flash back to Leora's face 3 years ago, her eyes dull over bills, my cold dismissal, get a job. Her flight to Hawaii was her answer, but Fain's sacrifice reframes it. Was it for us? I hit call, the ring shrill in my earpiece. The screen flickers, and Leora appears, her auburn hair tied back, a tropical backdrop jarring against Camden's snow. Her face, 52 now, is lined, her eyes wary. Eldrick, she says, her voice thin, like she's braced for a blow. The sender's chatter fades, my pulse pounding. Leora, I say, my voice steady but raw. You left Fain. Took your boss's kids to Hawaii, not her. Why? My words are a demand, but beneath them, a plea for truth. The locals glance over, sensing tension, and I lower my voice, the call public yet painfully private. Her eyes flinch, guilt flashing. I didn't want to, she says, her voice cracking. The debts, boat, house, they were crushing us. My boss offered a job, a way out. I couldn't take Fain, foster care was quicker than custody fights. She told me to go. Her words echo Fain's, and my chest tightens, fury rising. She was 16. I snap, my voice rising, drawing stares. You left her in foster care. For what, son and cash? The accusation's harsh, but Fain's tears, her fishing lure clutched tight, fuel it. Leora's face crumples, tears spilling. I thought I'd fix it, she chokes. Send money, bring her later. But it's harder than I thought. The sender's lights blur, and I flash back to Leora's late-night pacing, her voice, we're sinking. I ignored her, and Fain paid the price. My anger falters, empathy seeping in. You should have told me, I say, softer now. We could have fought together. Her sob cuts through, and I see her pain, raw as mine. I'm sorry, she whispers, her hands covering her face. I failed you both. The words hit like a wave, and I lean forward, my voice firm. Fain's strong, Leora. She protected me, hid your letter. But she needs us now. I'm fighting for her at the hearing tomorrow. Will you? My offer's a bridge, not absolution, but positive justice, truth, not vengeance, guides me. Leora nods, tears streaming. I'll try, she says, her voice small. I'll call the agency, send what I can. It's not enough, but it's a start. I nod, the call ending, the screen dark. The sender's chatter swells, Rosie eyeing me with concern. My phone buzzes, a text from Helen, hearing prep tonight. Caregiving stress presses, but Leora's guilt eases my own. I stand, the chair scraping, the locals' eyes following. Tom claps my shoulder, silent support. Maine's pines loom outside, snow softening their edges. My monologue spills, Leora, your truth hurts, but it's ours now. Fain, I'll fight for you, for us. The Christmas lights glow, a motif of hope. I vow dialogue, more truth, more healing, but a question lingers, sharp as the salt air, will Leora keep her promise? The snow had begun to fall before dusk, soft as sifted flour, blanketing the clapboard house in a hush that felt almost sacred. Outside, the pines stood guard, tall and silent beneath the silver-gray sky. The street lay empty, no carols, no children, just the faint crunch of ice settling beneath its own weight. Inside, the living room carried the scent of time, old wood, a trace of brine, and the ghosts of lobster dinners long gone. Eldrick Hawthorne sat on the worn couch, hunched over a shoebox that trembled in his fisherman's hands. The room was dim but warm, lit by a single lamp and the faint shimmer of Christmas lights filtering through the frosted window. He hadn't intended to cry. Not tonight. But the call from Leora yesterday, her voice cracked with regret, her eyes brimming, had torn open something in him. I failed you both, she had whispered, her image flickering across the screen. And then Fain's name. Their daughter's name, spoken like a prayer and a wound all at once. The box was filled with memories. Little pieces of a childhood that had passed in bursts, quick summers, hurried dinners, short hugs. Fain's sketches were the hardest to look at. Boats, goals, a crude drawing of their old dock. One stood out, a simple pencil sketch of Eldrick himself, standing on the trawler, hair whipping in the wind. My hero, she had scrawled in uneven handwriting. Age 8. Maybe 9. His chest tightened. He'd been out at sea that year. On her birthday. Promised to come home early. Didn't. There was always another line to haul, another buyer to call. He remembered Leora's voice, brittle over the phone. She cried herself to sleep. He'd shrugged it off. The catch had been good. It was for them, after all. But was it? The shoebox lid slipped from his lap and clattered to the floor. He stood, almost in reflex, pacing toward the mantel. There, the old photo remained untouched, the three of them on Fain's 5th birthday. Her face was smudged with cake, her eyes alight. Leora stood behind her, one arm around Eldrick, the other brushing her daughter's curls aside. "I miss you," he whispered, not sure to whom, maybe both. He remembered that night, too. After the guests had gone. Fain asleep on his chest, Leora beside him, their hands twined. "Don't miss these moments," she had said quietly, her breath warm on his neck. But he did. He missed too many of them. Recitals. Dinners. Arguments. Apologies. When Leora finally said, "We're sinking," he'd walked out, convinced he was right. That work was sacrifice. That exhaustion was virtue. That he was doing what a man was supposed to do. He hadn't realized she was sacrificing too, alone, every night, holding the home together while he chased waves. And now, the cost of it all sat before him in fragments. Fain's foster hearing was at 9 a.m. Helen had texted the reminder earlier, and Eldrick had stared at it for 5 full minutes before typing, deleting, then finally, "I'll be there." It wasn't just the hearing that loomed. It was the truth. Fain had asked Leora to leave, to flee to Hawaii, just to protect Eldrick from legal scrutiny. And in that act, his daughter had taken on a weight that no child should carry. His absence had left more than a gap, it had left wounds. He picked up her old fishing hat from the box. It still smelled faintly of salt, of summer mornings and sunscreen and tangled lines. He held it close, eyes wet. A knock startled him. He opened the door to find Tom McAllister, the old lobsterman from 3 doors down, snow on his cap, a dented thermos in his hand. "Thought you might need this," Tom said, gruff as ever. "Heard about the hearing." Eldrick blinked, unable to speak. Tom handed him the thermos. "Hot coffee," he said. "For luck." "Thanks," Eldrick managed, throat thick. Tom gave a nod, then paused. "Fain's lucky to have you. Don't forget that." The door shut softly behind him. Eldrick stood in silence, steam rising between his hands. Lucky? He didn't feel like someone who deserved that word. He returned to the couch, sat slowly. The lamp's glow brushed his face. Outside, snow was falling again, gentle and unhurried. A stillness settled, deeper than silence. He looked down at Fain's sketch, tracing the pencil lines. "I wasn't there," he murmured. "Not really. Not for the birthdays, the crying, the stress. I left too much on your mother's shoulders. I thought providing was enough. But it wasn't. It never was." He paused. "But I'm here now. And I'm staying." The guilt didn't vanish. It never would. But beside it, something flickered, a fragile forgiveness, like a candle refusing to die. He glanced out the window. The Christmas lights across the street twinkled softly. A motif of hope. He clung to it. "I'll fight for you, Fain," he said aloud. "For the daughter I barely knew, and the one who still believes in me." The thermos in his hand was warm. A small thing. But it steadied him. Camden's harbor shimmered beneath a Christmas night sky, the snow a soft veil over the docks and rooftops. Lights strung along the stacked lobster traps blinked in time with the wind, their glow caught in the frosted air like fireflies held in glass. Along the waterfront, laughter mingled with the briny scent of salt and seaweed, with pine smoke curling from chimneys and the sweet tang of mulled cider drifting from the community hall where the feast spilled into the cold. The harbor's waves lapped gently, a rhythm as old as memory. Voices rose in song around a driftwood bonfire, carols sung with uneven harmony, warm and imperfect. Hark! The herald angels sing carried through the night, and for once, Eldrick Hawthorne allowed the melody to wash over him without flinching. In his clapboard kitchen just up the hill, the clatter of pots and the hiss of boiling water made the house feel lived in again. For a while, it had felt like a shell, quiet, efficient, and hollow. But tonight, there was life. Fain was humming, her voice soft and tuneless, a comfort he'd forgotten he needed. Steam curled from the pot he stirred, rising like hope from the briny broth. He turned to glance at her, 16, tall like her mother, eyes sharp like his. Her dark curls were damp from a recent snowball fight she swore hadn't happened, her flannel shirt sleeves rolled to the elbows as she cracked the lobster claw with a practiced twist. The fishing hat he'd given her on her 10th birthday, faded, frayed, and stubbornly hers, hung on the hook by the door. Her smile, once guarded and rare, now lit the kitchen like the bonfire down the hill. "You're burning it," she said, teasing, nudging his elbow with hers. "Says the girl who dropped a trap overboard without tying it off," he countered, grinning. She laughed, a full, unguarded sound, and tossed the lobster claw at him. He caught it midair, their old rhythm returning like muscle memory. The scent of butter and sea filled the room, and beside the flickering candle on the table sat a photo of the three of them, Leora, Fain, and Eldrick, on Fain's 5th birthday. Fain, icing on her nose, holding a cake shaped like a lobster boat. Leora's arm around them both. The photo used to hurt to look at. Tonight, it only ached. He turned off the burner and lowered the heat. Fain glanced at the pot, then at him, then away again. Her hands moved quickly, setting out mismatched plates, refolding a napkin that didn't need it. "Fain," he said, his voice low, unsure. "I'm sorry. For being gone too much. For not fighting harder." She stilled. Her hands pressed flat against the table. When she looked at him, her eyes were glassy, but she didn't cry. "I used to think you picked the ocean over me," she whispered. His chest tightened. "But you're here now," she said, her voice steady. "And I'm still me. That's enough." He reached for her hand. She let him take it. The hearing that morning had ended in their favor. Guardianship returned to him. A victory, yes, but it hadn't felt real until this moment, standing in the kitchen, steam rising from the stove, Fain's hand in his. Leora's video testimony had tipped the balance, her voice cracking, her promise to send what support she could across the ocean. A fragile bridge, but a bridge nonetheless. He'd been angry with her, furious, even. But time had softened the jagged edges. Anger had become sadness, and sadness, over time, had given way to something more complicated, forgiveness shaped like longing. The financial strain still hung in the corners of the house. His boat was gone, sold to keep the house and clear some debts. The creditor had agreed to a payment plan, but winter was lean, and spring traps were months away. Still, the weight of caregiving had lightened. The nights of paperwork, the cold silences between him and Fain, the worry etched into every grocery trip, they weren't gone, but they had shifted. And so had he. The doorbell rang, and Fain darted to answer it. Tom, the lobsterman from 2 docks down, stood there in a puff jacket, arms full of cider jugs. "Heard you got your crew back," he said, stepping inside with a grin. Fain beamed. Aye, Captain," she joked, offering a salute. Rosie followed with a pot of steaming chowder, her cheeks flushed from the cold. Behind her came Helen and Carl, Fain's former foster parents, who had weathered the storm alongside Eldrick. Forms, hearings, tense calls with social workers, they'd carried the weight with grace and without bitterness. Helen hugged Fain tight, whispering something that made the girl blush. The kitchen filled with warmth and noise, with laughter and plates and passed bowls. They moved together, a makeshift crew. The awkwardness between Eldrick and Helen dissolved with a shared smile over the chowder pot. Later, they carried the food down to the harbor, joining the others near the bonfire. Plates piled high with lobster, clams, cornbread, and butter. The fire popped and cracked, its embers bright against the snow. Children danced in snow boots, and old men told stories with frozen breath. Eldrick and Fain sat on a bench near the edge of the dock, the tide low and the stars reflected in the black water. Fain put her hat back on, tugging it low over her ears. She cracked a claw and dipped it into warm butter. "Like old times," she said, her voice quiet. He nodded, unable to speak for a moment. The salt air caught in his throat. Last Christmas, he had eaten alone. Leora's eyes on the screen had been distant, full of apology and absence. Fain had been across town with Helen and Carl, silent in her messages. The silence had stretched like winter. Tonight, it broke. His phone buzzed in his coat pocket. A message from Leora. "I'm proud of you both. I'll keep trying. It's not home, but it's a start." He showed it to Fain. She read it, her expression unreadable at first. Then she nodded slowly, her fingers tightening around her fork. "She'll come around," she said. "Maybe not all at once. But she will." He believed her. Fain had learned the art of patience in a world that often demanded haste. He could learn from her. The financial strain hadn't vanished. The debt still sat like a shadow at the edge of each decision. But that could wait. For now, there was food, there was fire, and there was family. That was enough. He stood and raised his cider mug. The crowd quieted. "To family," he said, his voice carrying across the docks. "And to all of you, for holding us up when we couldn't hold ourselves." Tom's gruff here, drew a ripple of laughter. Someone clinked mugs, and soon the toasts echoed across the harbor. Fain tugged his sleeve and pointed at the traps stacked nearby, their Christmas lights glowing red and gold. "They look like stars," she whispered. He wrapped an arm around her. "You're my star," he said, the words spilling from a place he didn't know he still had. "You brought me back. You reminded me who I am." She leaned into him, warm despite the cold. "And Leora," he continued, "half to Fain, half to the sky, will wait. As long as it takes." Around them, the carolers began "Joy to the World," the chorus rising with the wind. He bent toward Fain. "Share your story someday, kid. It's worth telling." Her smile in reply was quiet but certain. And somewhere between the snow and the sea, between forgiveness and hope, Camden's harbor glowed. The pine trees stood tall against the night, and the salt air wrapped around them like a song. The hearing was won, the debts still looming, but they were standing. Whole, if not perfect. And above it all, one question, soft as falling snow: would Leora ever come home? Eldrick looked at the stars, on the water, in the traps, in Fain's eyes. Some things, he thought, are already on their way back. A crumpled letter shattered Christmas in Camden, Maine, revealing a wife's betrayal. Eldrick Hawthorne, 55, a retired fisherman, stood frozen on snowy docks, the scent of lobster and salt heavy in the icy air. His daughter, abandoned in foster care, held a secret that could break their bond forever. Forgiveness, not vengeance, might heal their family's heart. Will truth mend what's torn? Dive into this emotional family story and share your own secrets in the comments below.